And hello, a very warm welcome, a very good evening. And how are you on this fine Tuesday evening? It's been a lovely day today, super weather, out in the garden, getting the old sunshine. But I gave the deck chairs to a charity shop about a week before lockdown. I really did. They were brand new as well, shrink wrapped and lovely. A very good evening to you, Kevin. Welcome to our rock show after show party. It's very good to have you with us. It's going to be a short after show party tonight. A very good evening, Adam. How are you this evening, sir? We've just been doing a live radio thing here in Cambridge, so we're not our usual bouncy selves, a bit subdued. And James and Phil, thank you for joining us at home in our and it's day 64, so I should be singing that Beatles song, shouldn't I? But I quoted I just quoted the lyrics. When I get older, losing my hair. I can't believe 24. Oh. Hello, and a very good evening once again. We have a bit of a problem. We're stopping. Let's go on to sound. I do apologise for what's going on here at the moment, and we need to address this immediately. This is a strange old thing, isn't it? Let's address the tech. We might have to end the live set and start over. I think that's probably the best thing. It's a bit pesky. Let's see if we can address this. We'll turn the volume right down, which will reduce the amount of echoing a bit. And what an extraordinarily embarrassing thing to happen on a live video. But never mind, we will address this and let us do what we need to do to stop what's happening. It's a major disaster of epic proportions on a live feed here. But these things, as they say, are sent to trials. We nearly aborted it, but we're sticking with it, and we're hoping that the internet will come to our aid, or rather the computer, and we can get things going as quickly as possible with our control panel-y thing. You can probably hear us now, and in a moment we will be able to return to normal behaviour of all the devices and things if I untick that box. My goodness me, isn't it complicated? Because for doing a radio show, we're back to normal now. For doing a radio show and for doing these, these are different settings that I used, and we are now back in the zone. Thank you for bearing with us during this moment or two of chaos. Here in the Coronaville.
Well, it has been a long day. It has been a long day for the both of us. Yeah,
It's been a heck of a long day, absolutely for sure. And now we are back in the zone as much as normal, says Kevin. He's absolutely right. Absolutely right. So what is there new to report? Well, it's day 64, you see, which is hence the Beatles quote in the title of today's little episode, and we're going to keep it nice and brief. We're going to sort of run through some of the quickly some of the sort of news that's been going on tonight, and then Irma will do some of her delightful stuff. The dog has indeed wandered off. There it is. If you have a look sort of behind us, the dog is really well and truly alive and there on the sofa, but he hates the limelight, and he likes to get out of the firing line occasionally. So this evening, some of you will know that I do this regular radio show here in Cambridge, which is of a Tuesday night. It's a rock show. We play lots of old tunes, mostly from the 1970s or whatever. And tonight I turned it round and I asked all the listeners to pick their faves, and it was a terrific show. We had a lovely time. I didn't pick a single record myself. I was just the fetching boy, going to the library and getting the records and sticking them on, and it was wonderful. It was a great show.
It was a great show.
A lot of songs that I've never ever played before on the show. So cheers to everybody who helped us out with that. Very, very much appreciated.
I would suggest that next week you start with your favourite song that you couldn't play tonight, because obviously you were so overwhelmed by everybody asking for a song, and it's just different.
I don't like to let people down, and we had 18 requests from our listeners, so it was just a situation where you can't say no under those kind of circumstances, can you? Really? It wouldn't be nice. Wouldn't be nice because I remember as a kid, you send in a request to the radio and then they don't play it, and it's such a disappointing thing. Nowadays, people probably don't even bother because it's all on computers and the presenters aren't even there. But in the little glimpse of radio that I do on a Tuesday night, I am there. Look, here's the proof. And this is our little after show party, if you like, and so here we are behind the scenes. After every radio show, everybody sort of goes on the old H2O, not J2O, and they knock that back and do the post-mortem and see how it goes and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny with this radio show that we do because. Unlike when I'm doing this from the radio studio, well, A, I've got the garden just out there, which is nice, but B, I can run next door to the kitchen where Irma's listening to this on her iPad, and other machines are available for listening to things, and I can hear the end of the last link and the start of the record to make sure that everything's sort of working smoothly. So that's bizarre. So so I announce the tunes, then I'm off to the kitchen, have a listen. It's all right, and then come back before it ends.
Yeah, but the thing is, what is more bizarre is that you find me just dancing on my own to the tune.
Well, absolutely, and then I had to kind of join you with my terrific sense
of
rhythm.
Hello, David.
So it was a funny one. It was a funny one. It was, and then I just got time. I just got to the kitchen in time to hear Irma get her request played as well, which is quite a nice surprise for her. I knew it was coming. You see, but there's the thing. Now, as some of you may know, that together with my friend Kevin, who's watching at the moment, we're on a little spreadsheet to see how the old virusy thing is progressing here in the UK, and it's really. And hello, Wendy, welcome back from Rockshowville, and it's nice to have you watching us this evening. We won't be going on too long tonight, and also have hello to the other Kevin who's joined us, the Kevin who joins us from Ipswich. Lovely to have your company with us this evening. What was I talking about just before that?
Well, what we do with Kevin.
Oh yes, absolutely. See, it's old age. But having said that, one of my listeners, I'm not going to say which one, but one of my listeners tonight on the Rock Show actually dozed off before the end, and then had to message me on Facebook to ask which song was my pick, because everybody was going through their favourite picks of tunes tonight, and in fact I got squeezed out because there just wasn't time to play mine, but one of my friends nodded off. I won't name or shame that person by even saying which gender they were, but I thought that was very sweet.
I think it's just great when you fall asleep in the middle of the show. I mean, even if you're sleeping, you can still, your senses still perceiving all this kind of information, and then that's when you begin to dream, and it's just great. Yeah.
I don't like falling asleep in front of the telly, but I don't
that's
mind.
Boring.
I don't mind falling asleep with the radio on, because the radio is like a sort of friend, isn't it? Really, and everybody who listens to that show, we're all like friends now. Some of us have met, some of us haven't. Some of us are on like completely different continents, but it's just a very nice kind of weekly thing of chilling with your friends, and it's like inviting a few friends around, which you might have done back in the day, and you'd have a turntable and some albums, and they'd bring a few, and you'd have a sort of listener.
It was like a private party. I mean, you catering for every single one taste, and it was just amazing to see all the interaction with the listeners, and it's just awesome.
It's very nice, and that's why I carry on doing it, because it's a great thing to do. The station that I was on 20 years ago, Total Rock, is having its 20th birthday, and I just remembered today that I've got until the end of the month to record my reminiscences for them, which I'll do in a day or two, sitting in this very spot here, about how it all started and all that. That's a bit hazy now as well, so we'll need to stir out the old grey matter a bit to try and get some of that back. But I was looking in the folder that they've got on Google Drive, and other storage facilities are available, and they've left some of them there. There's some very interesting recollections from some folks I know, and photographs and bits and pieces. So that's going to be a blast. And at the 10th anniversary, we all had a little reunion, But obviously this year it hasn't been possible, so they've mooted the idea of a 21st reunion. But for the 20th birthday, this radio station Total Rock are just going to have a few of us old codgers talking about how good it was back in the day, and I'm honoured that they remembered me and to take part. Kevin says, and how can you do that? He fell asleep at Ozfest one year. But he said that might have been induced by one too many of the old Fosters or whatever. But who can say? Who can say? It's wonderful, isn't it? And I fell asleep once during a meeting.
He did
with my friend Ira.
He did. Did.
And
Yes.
I know I did. Nodding off, so I can't. It's obviously something that happens to the best of us, and well, what can I say really? What can I say? No comment given. So so Kevin and I do this spreadsheet about coronavirus, and based on today's numbers, it actually tails away to about 0 mid-June. However, that's probably a bit misleading, because what normally happens is of a Tuesday, they've done the figures over the weekend and they update them, and then there's a spike. Clearly, since Monday was a bank holiday, they're probably doing the figures today and they'll probably release them tomorrow. So I wouldn't get too carried away. But we're on the right side of the coronavirus. Whether it's correct at the moment to open the non-essential shops, whether it's correct to send the children to school, I personally think it isn't. But the time only will tell.
That's correct.
And in the meantime, we stay locked in with the letterbox sealed shut. What I did, I went to the, in case you don't know this story, I went to our local, being the number one hypochondriac on the planet, I went to the local DIY store, B&Q, as soon as it opened, being a sort of semi-essential store, and I bought a letterbox from them, and I bought a steel plate, and then I drilled some holes through both of them, and the letterbox is on one side of the door, there's steel plates on the other side of the door, and there's some big bolts going through, so it's pretty obvious to the postman that I don't want any letters. And just in case he's got this itch to deliver something, I stuck this box on the wall with a little flap, so that he can put the letters inside there. And it's a bit eccentric, isn't it? But, on the other hand, he might just have sneezed on the envelope. Or she.
I think that we don't know by the fact of what's really happening. So we have to really take assessment of what our vulnerabilities are and how can we best tackle them in order to carry on living. It's just wonderful to be alive, and if it is to do with changing your health habits and your be good, be well, feed, exercise, and everything else, well, that's what it takes. But in the meantime, if you don't have to go out and you can protect yourself by working from home or being at home, just carry on doing that way until we know exactly what's going on, because we don't know.
Yeah, that's very true. But at least we know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And it's good to know what you don't know. And when you don't know what you don't know, or you might even not know that you don't know what you don't know.
My prefrontal cortex is going bananas.
There was a song. There's always a song about things, and this was by a band called the Kursaal Flyers in the 1970s, and it's about a guy who is being two-timed by his girlfriend, and she's sitting in the laundrette, and she sort of seen him going past, so she knows that he knows, but she doesn't know that he saw her watching him go past. And so the title of that song was "Little Does She Know That He Knows That I Know That She Knows That I Know She's Two-Timing Me." And that was quite a complicated thing to get your head around. But it was on the top of the pops as well. It was a hit. But the logic of that, especially at this time in the evening, and especially when you've just done 2 hours of live radio, is not really worth bearing with, I'm afraid. I think that's one that's good to put to rest. And so news-wise, the old virus is going down day after day after day, which is good, especially since they incorporated stuff like care home deaths and all that kind of stuff, and people dying at home now. So that figure is pretty accurate. So all credit to the government, and I drink them a toast in water for their splendid efforts. Wonderful. Now, you might have heard that Sweden were doing this experiment where everybody was sitting around in cafes
Yes.
and mingling and everybody saying how wonderful it was. Unfortunately for Sweden, And Brazil was having carnivals and this kind of thing. Unfortunately, it appears that they were the wrong side of the science, which is kind of a shame. So Sweden has the highest death rate per million of population. I mean, it's about the death rate per capita. With hot on the heels, Brazil, and actually Brazil and the UK are tying in the second place. Why is it so bad here? I don't really know. I don't really know why it's so severe in the UK, because most people have been obeying this lockdown, haven't they?
No,
No?
not really. I don't think so. No,
Those
well,
rascals.
I don't know. I think this kind of virus has different strengths, and somehow, and for one lucky charm or whatever, the USA and the UK got hit the worst. We don't know why.
Yeah, we don't. I was
It
in the
could be a genetic stuff. We
Could
don't really
Could
know.
be something like that. Could be something like that.
Mm.
But yeah, I was in the garden this afternoon, and these two girls walked past, and about, I don't know, 5 or 10 seconds after they'd gone, I could smell their perfume, and I was thinking, so they must have kind of used quite a lot. But the thing is, I was thinking, well, that was more than 2 meters away. And there's some stuff going into my nose, so that made me think that maybe 2 meters isn't enough.
No, scent is completely different to exposure to a someone else's sneeze, which is what it's all about.
Well, a sneeze goes further than scent, as
Uh,
it happens.
yeah, no, but it's different. The scent, it affects your olfactory senses.
It does, but something is reaching them.
Yeah, which is completely different. It's completely different kind of a scenario.
It's quite, but something from them is reaching me.
You can smell gas. Are you been affected by it?
When I was a kid,
It's a warning system.
Funny you should
Smell is a
mention
warning system from you.
funny you should mention that. As a kid, I was a kind of quite a subdued person, which is hard to imagine now, isn't it? With me waving my arms around all stuff and looning about. But I was sitting in the corner of the room like this, and very afraid to put my hand up and all this kind of thing. And there was this kid in the school whose name was James, who was a bit of a tearaway, and he turned on the gas tap in the room. I was terrified that I was about to croak it immediately and start pushing up the daisies, and they'd be having mass funerals in the school. So I went downstairs and I locked myself in the loo for half an hour, and the teacher had to come and get me.
Why?
Because, well, we didn't have gas at home, you see. We had a coal-fired heater back in those days. And so I didn't know, I just figured.
Well, all the senses that we have, olfactory, vision, everything else,
Yes.
even touch, taste, is to do with a survival mechanism to make you aware that it's hot, you mustn't touch. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So that is burning in your eyes, you mustn't look, kind of thing. Like it's affecting your olfactory system. It's telling you something is not quite right, so you just run a mile.
Yeah.
So, but it's completely different to when you are exposed to some kind of someone else's remnants of sneeze or a cough or anything else, or touching the surface.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Yeah, it could be. I'm just going to say hello to Jeffrey, to Dee, to Sanjeev, to Warren, and of course to Jeff, that I haven't seen, which is not the same as Jeffrey. So there's, we had two Kevins, and now I've got one Jeffrey and one Jeff.
And how many Davids?
And you can't have too many Davids. You honestly can't. And it's delightful to see Jeffrey this evening, and it's delightful to see Jeff. Jeff used to listen to the rock show, but hasn't done for a long time. So you missed out tonight, sir. But there we are. And hopefully we'll see you again in the not distant future. Jeffrey did listen tonight and put in a request and got it played, and a terrific song it was too. But I digress. And so yeah, we're talking about why here in the UK we're joint second in the deaths per capita, after with Sweden being the worst, where they're all sitting around in cafes, and it was pretty obvious to me that in a deadly virus that hops from person to person, if you all sit around in cafes, people are going to get it, and then if it's deadly, they're going to die. So this wasn't, in my view, a sensible thing to do. Every government says, well, we're guided by the science, but the problem is the science community is divided. Mm-hmm. So they can just choose to be guided by whichever scientist happens to be on the payroll. and isn't, it's anyway. I
Rant's
won't.
over.
So the thing is, well, that was a mini rant because I'm too knackered to do a proper one. But the thing is, the stuff the government tells you is arbitrary. The 2 meters is arbitrary, and I reckon 3 meters would probably be better. But and another arbitrary thing is, when are we going to open up the pubs and the restaurants and this kind of thing? And will we get it wrong like Sweden did, or like South Korea did when they had to close down a whole lot of clubs because one COVIDiot was wandering around spreading symptoms, and there was a little outbreak.
Could it be the possibility that, I mean, there's been a lot of requests about donors for people who have been affected by COVID, and they are donating their plasma. And could it be that they probably have an answer on how to treat it? And we don't know yet.
Maybe.
But they just don't want to give empty hopes.
Yep, that is
happy.
That is definitely a possibility. Now today, that drug with the name I can't pronounce, which is remdesivir, has been approved, which is good to know. But the other one, Donald Trump's one, hasn't. The one that he's is it hexachloroquine or something, has not been approved because it might even make matters worse. But remdesivir reduces your symptoms by 3 to 4 days.
Well, I think this kind of this is my personal opinion, and I've got to make that very, very clear that this virus is it's probably very efficient in tackling whatever comorbidities we have, or every individual that is affected with has. So I can only assume that changing the lifestyle and getting rid of the things that you don't really need to survive. I mean, I know that it's just very tempting to have this juicy meal and a massive plate of whatever you fancy, but is it really gonna help your body? It's probably not gonna help you. So it's a matter of rationing yourself and just making yourself healthy, because we don't know what's gonna happen with this thing. Is it gonna stay forever? It's going to change us, metabolically speaking. We don't really know.
Could be. Hello to my friend Carl from Essex, who's just joined us. Long time no see. When the lockdown lifts, it would be nice to get together again and have a coffee. You'd love Carl. He's a lovely fella. Good evening, sir. So welcome to our living room. This is it, and we're just having our evening natter. I was going to say I'm a bit even knackered. The slip here. I was going to say I'm a bit knackered because of just coming off the radio. I shouldn't complain, but this is our sort of radio after show party, a unique experience. It's normally just the two of us, and we've invited a few friends around tonight to share that experience of what it's like to unwind after you've been doing that sort of high pressured radio stuff, spinning the discs and such like. We're going to talk about something we do every night. Is we address the questions from the podium that are to oh my goodness, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. My friend Kevin has just sent me a funny meme about a certain advisor to the Prime Minister who shall remain nameless. I mean, we're not gonna go there. And so let us scroll back.
Oh my God, that's a long conversation.
That is a very long conversation that I had with my friend Kevin, and we will scroll back through it to today's questions from the public. So here they are. So guys on the podium pontificating as they do. Members of the public chosen from probably a huge pool of questions, although might be fizzling out a bit now. But chosen carefully by the spin doctors, who then spend the whole day perfecting some kind of answer, which is not exactly how we do it, because we just Irma reads them out and then I shoot from the hip. Go.
This is Marcy from Brighton. Will the government review all penalty fines imposed on families travelling for childcare purposes during lockdown?
Well, interestingly enough, I saw the response to this one that they give, which is Matt Hancock said something like, yeah, we'll certainly review this. It's quite an interesting issue, and parents should look after their kids, and kids should be looked after by their parents, and he went away from the podium, and straight after the government said, no, we won't.
Oh.
Well, that's how it works.
Well, but
The podium is a bit like this for entertainment purposes.
But the good thing with English law is that
yeah.
everything is a precedent. All you have to do
Well,
is say
yeah.
one name and one name only.
Okay.
And that's the joker. That's the card.
Do 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 do, breaking the law, breaking the law.
No, precisely. No, it's just sort of thing. Just give a name and that's it. Done.
Now,
Sorted.
what did Ellie say from Kent?
Ellie from Kent says if people can start to shop for unessential items and kids, can you buy
can shop
kids?
for kids? I don't think so.
No, and kids can and
yeah.
hang on.
And non-essential
If,
items, comma.
And kids can go back to school when we don't know where those people have been. Why can't we visit another household who we know have been self-isolating, such as grandparents and partners?
Yeah,
Makes sense.
there has been some talk about doing this, and one of the ideas that was mooted, I think that was by that Scottish lady, Sturgeon, was that you could nominate a few people that you could visit, and you'd all have a sort of contract of honour whereby you'd all self-isolate except when you were visiting them. So that could be, I don't know, our friends Colin and Claudia, for example. And that hasn't been done in the UK yet. It is something that has been considered. In Belgium, they let you nominate 4 people that you can do that with, but you can't change it. So if you have a big falling out with one and you're a bit stuck, then it's back to sitting at home on your own. So, good idea in principle.
Yeah, but that reminds me of it's okay to be alone.
Oh, absolutely. But it's okay also to have company. Some people like one, some people like the other. I mean, this is an introvert's paradise, and it's but one person's heaven is another person's hell. It's the extrovert's hell. So it's not clear cut. And lockdown has, according to the Prime Minister, either been lifted or not been lifted, and he made that very clear in his speech about, was it a fortnight ago now? Was it?
Maybe
The one where he said, "Go out, stay home."
But it can be lifted. But it may be
Well,
lifted,
it's
but it may be.
But
it's not.
The lockdown has definitely been lifted, but it hasn't. So stay home.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
So I hope that was as clear to you as Boris's speech was to us. The one a fortnight ago, not the one on Sunday evening, which we will not talk about. No comment about that at all, ever. Whatsoever, at all. So it's been a kind of. Here's the thing: it's been kind of slow news day, hasn't it, for this virus? Even though, for 12 weeks, the news bulletins think that all we want to know about is this virus. But they're actually running, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel now to come up with these stories, just to keep the circulation going and keep people watching and all this kind of stuff.
No, I think we're all getting fed up. We just want to know what's going to happen. I mean, if it is out there, if all this uproar happened, what's happening now? What's the difference? What has changed?
Have you heard this expression, the blind leading the blind, you see? And I get the feeling that there's an element of that in this. That those who are issuing these sort of pronouncements because we've put them there and we are paying them a big salary feel necessary to exercise their vocal cords, just as we do every day, but we're not even getting paid that big salary. Not even half of it. And and I've got my agent on the case, and he can't work out how to monetize it. But anyway,
I thought it was your agent.
You are. Well, you're she. Sorry, haha.
No. Anyway.
My personal representative. You're my agent's agent.
No.
Agents need agents, don't they, to represent themselves to the client?
There's a very good story about a supermarket. Supermarket manager arranges hot meal for 87-year-old customer. This customer goes and shops there every week, in and out, and it's all teen foods and nothing else. And says, "Would you like to help with some fresh food?" And she goes, "No, I don't have a microwave. She doesn't have a microwave, and she doesn't have a family living locally."
Oh dear.
So what he's done is arranged some hot meals for her.
Yeah. That's very kind of it.
That's very kind, yes. KYC, know your customer.
Oh, I thought that was a brand of fried chicken.
No, that's K, whatever, C.
And other fast foods are available, and they're all equally disgusting. So you know.
Actually, yes.
Actually, yes, they are, and you know the best thing to do with those buckets that it comes in is after you've had the
Well,
stuffed your face
my
with the chips and things.
well, Craig, what he done years ago, he bought one bucket of the things, thinking, oh, what's the delicious thing?
Yes.
Ah, God, he doesn't. He say what he said is that he he had a bite of one of those. And a lot of grease came out of it. Ugh, that's it. No, you wouldn't have no more.
What a wise person. So Kevin says that we're almost into DEFCON 2 and have reduced down to alert level 3. So that's pretty good, isn't it? Really. So we're delighted to know that. The mainstream media seem to have decided that for half an hour a day or for an hour a day on a news channel for 24 hours a day, all they're talking about is a little spiky virusy thing, 1/80th of the size of the human hair. Exactly. Oh, that was a terrific impression, and now I'll be an antibody. And there we are, and there it is in a nutshell. And surely, you know, milking this story to death, surely there's got to be something else we can hear about on the news. Surely something's happening, like the price of oil, or, you know, who knows? I'm sure there must be things happening out there. You know, I saw a man digging a street the other day, and he told me it would there were enough sand in there to fill the Albert Hall, to quote my friend Kevin's favourite song of all time, which is a very good one. Dentists in England will be reopened in phases to reduce the backlog of dental issues that have arisen during the It's nearly time to stop when I can't even say coronavirus.
Yes, I think so.
So what we need is some words of wisdom from Irma to wrap it, and then we will love you and leave you tonight for understandable reasons. And we might not always do Tuesdays, because sometimes on a Tuesday, after all that radio stuff, we need to put our feet up on the old sofa there and chill a bit. I hope that's okay. So
I was going to read something from Winston Churchill, but I don't think that it's not.
Never in the field of human history has so much been owed by so many to so few. He was a great man. I mean, you know, we only take the mick out of people we respect and admire.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. This is a little bit of wisdom. Living life fully. May 26th. And reach for our lives, for all life, deep into the cosmos that is our own souls. This is Sonia Johnson, wrote these words. And now, each of us is a cosmos unto ourselves. When we are living our lives fully, we are separate persons. We are also one with the universe. We are ourselves with our boundaries, and we are connected with all things. Luckily, we are not really asked to live anyone else's life. All we have to do is live our own, and that seems to be quite enough for us. When we live life fully, we allow ourselves to taste the range of our experiences. We see that we see, we feel what we feel, and know what we know. We accept every opportunity to live out of our own souls. Luckily, living life fully is not a task, it is an opportunity. So any thoughts on this?
Merely, as Zebedee said on that TV show, The Magic Roundabout, which was a kind of children's puppet series, he used to say, "Time for bed, boing." Then he used to bounce off into the horizon. So kind of the old grey matter is not quite what it once was.
Yeah. No, basically, you have one little life to live. Live it fully. Make it better.
I would endorse that.
Very late.
Absolutely. So yeah, be the best you can be. We'll talk about things a bit more coherently tomorrow. I hope it was very nice to see you, but as you can see, I'm certainly a little bit the worse for wear tonight. So thank you so much for your company. We hope to see you again tomorrow evening. It will be very nice. I'm not doing my afternoon tomorrow with my friend Rupert, because he's otherwise engaged. So the only time I'll pop up on here will be tomorrow evening with my amor, and I hope you can join us in the living room for that. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Good night.
Good night.